Hi there, Terry back again. Hope I find you well. Welcome to my latest video. I had to do it on the phone this time because my computer's playing up a bit. Anyway, we're back with 1969 with Action Comics this time. And the first one comes with a Curt Swan and Neil Adams cover. Let's start number 371. And this is written by Otto Binder, pencils Curt Swan, inks Jack Abel. A ray from an alien computer triggered by an enemy agent gives Superman amnesia and he can't remember his secret identity. So this issue he masquerades as the President of the USA while the real President is on a secret mission. And the Supergirl story? The Supergirl bestseller, written by Leo Dorfman, art Kurt Schaffenberger. A book about Supergirl's life from the future gets into the hands of a writer in the present, who writes a biography revealing much of Supergirl's personal life. She takes the woman to court, but the ruling goes against Supergirl. Supergirl performs a feat differently from the book, which changes the timeline. The pages of the book become blank, and everyone, including Supergirl, forget the book ever existed. Next we have number 372, February cover date. As you can see, they're cover now, and we have Neil Adams doing the cover, and the writer is Otto Binder, pencils Curt Swan, and inks by Jack Abel. Title as per the cover: The Grappler of Steel. Since a wrestler called the Masked Superman has been missing for some time, Superman deduces he could be the grappler and assumes his identity. Meanwhile, the spy who gave him amnesia is masquerading as Clark Kent. The Supergirl story: Linda Danvers, movie star. Writer Leo Dorfman, art Kurt Schaffenberger. Linda wins a prize. Wins a quiz, and therefore wins a prize. And she gets a date with a famous actor. He invites her to a weekend on a tropical island. She gets a part in his latest movie, but that doesn't go down well to begin with. Then we have 373, March-April cover date. And Curt Swan, Neil Adams cover. As you can see, an all Supergirl issue. All of the tales have been taken from Action Comics, which I have gone through on my previous videos. But it is a lovely cover. Then we have 374. This is a March cover date as well. And this time Supes, still with amnesia, believes he might be a villain, and that being Superman is just a sham. And the Supergirl tale, No Mercy for Supergirl, written by Leo Dorfman and art Kurt Schaffenberger. Supergirl is caught by an alien from the planet Sarkon, calling himself the Avenger. The laws on this planet forbid any life to be taken. Supergirl is caught cutting a flower, so is sentenced to die. Supergirl has to be very clever to avoid her death. Number 375, April cover date. Carmine Infantino doing the cover this time. The conclusion to the amnesia story. The Big Forget. Writer Otto Binder, Curt Swan and Jack Abel with the art. Superman disguises himself in a business suit and glasses. Applies for a job at the Daily Planet. He then learns he is really Clark Kent. Later he encounters the agent who caused all this, disguised as Clark Kent. And the Supergirl tale, The Woman Who Hated Supergirl. Writer Leo Dorfman and artist Kurt Schaffenberger. An astronomer, easy for me to say, discovers a red hand nebula in outer space. She asks Supergirl to take her to it while taking photographs of the nebula up close. She is hit by a blinding light which does fade her sight to blindness. She covers up as best she can, but later reveals to Supergirl how much he hates her. And this continued in the next issue. .376, May cover date. This one's done by Curt Swan. And as the cover says, The Only Way to Kill Superman. Otto Binder writing, Curt Swan and Jack Abel with the art. The anti-Superman gang offers $1 million to whomever can come up with a way to kill the Man of Steel. 3 contestants have failed so far, but the 4th giant killer, Jones, traps him by suckering him into a flying ring of kryptonite dust in a lead suit, and then transmutes the lead into glass. And then we have the hated Girl of Steel, and as of last issue, she's still hated by Maria Alexander, the astronomer. Supergirl devises a plan to help cure her, but she can't tell anyone, leastways Maria, so she carries on hating her even more. Game written by Leo Dorfman and Kurt Schaffenberger with the art. Then we have 377, June cover date, The Cage of Doom. Kurt Swan and Neil Adams doing the cover. The anti-Superman gang are still at it, trying to kill Superman. The first one tried to materialise a bullet into his head. Second one, Wills Talbot tried to madden him with a super siren. Brains Logan tried to strangle him by shrinking his costume. And of course we saw what Giant Killer Jones did last issue. But Superman manages to ride an empty rocket shell out of the influence of the ring. He then flies to his fortress and devises a costume over his costume to help him defeat any more of their murder plans. And he gets them incarcerated. And as of last issue, that was the last tale of Supergirl to appear in Action Comics, as she took over the main story in Adventure Comics as of 381 Jan 69. The gap in action was filled by Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, the first being a reprint of their debut in their own title, so to speak, which was number 300 of Adventure Comics, September 62. The banner on that cover said Superboy in Tales of the Legion of Superheroes. And this story was called The Face Behind the Lead Mask. It was written by Jerry Siegel, art by John Forte and Al Plastino. Superboy aids the Legion when their powers go out of control. And this is all down to a robot built by Luthor. 378, July 69. Kurt Swan and Neil Adams with the cover. Written by Jim Shooter, The Devil's Partner. And the pencils are by Kurt Swan and by Jack Abel. The inks, that is. An alien villain called the Marauder finds an amnesiac Rolnak in space. Outfits him in the image of the devil, gives him weapons to match, and sends him against Superman. Later, Rolnak remembers he is actually Kal-El's godfather, having encountered Jor-El and Lara, Kal-El's parents, on Krypton. So he becomes Kal-El's friend. Rolnak was supposed to appear on a regular basis, but this didn't happen. His second and last appearance was 10 years later, in World of Krypton, number 2, August 1979. And the Marauder did appear in a couple more times, 3 years later in Action Force 17 and 418. That was October, November 72. The Legion story, written by Jim Shooter, is called The Forbidden Fruit. And it's a new story with the art by Win Mortimer and Mike Esposito. Timberwolf is tricked into eating a fruit that is all-consuming, and he needs more and more. The doctor that gave him the fruit gives him a basketful for all the Legionnaires, but before he can grasp the basket, his girlfriend Light Lass makes it super light, and a breeze blows it to her. She then connects the basket to a blast grenade strapped to her belt, leaving Timberwolf with a dilemma: kill his girlfriend by touching the fruit or stopping the doctor. Well, will love win out? Then we have 379, August 69. Cover by Kurt Swan and Neil Adams. Title, The Eliminator. Written by Leo Dorfman, art by Kurt Swan and Jack Abel. Superman seems to trigger a curse that kills 7 reporters, but learns later that they were aliens imitating the reporters, and that an otherworld lawman has been executing them because of them being murderers. The Legion story, written by E. Nelson Bridwell in One of Us, is an imposter. Win Mortimer and Murphy Anderson with the art. A meeting of the Legion is called by Deputy Leader Mon-El. Several Legionnaires join him. A computer alarm warns that one of them is an imposter, but before it can reveal who, it explodes. Mon-El needs to work out who it is during an emergency they had been informed of, while all the imposter stuff has been going on. September 69. Kurt Swan and Murphy Anderson with the cover. Leo Dorfman writing The Confessions of Superman. Art Kurt Swan and George Roussos. The Superman Revenge Squad are at it again. They set up a tournament. The winner gets to trap and destroy Superman. A husband-wife team called the Liquidators win and head to Earth, set up their plan, and as you can see by the cover, they've been able to convince Superman he is bad and has committed many crimes. The story that continues next issue ends with Superman feeling such remorse he's about to open a lead box containing gold kryptonite. And we all know what that does. And the Legionnaire story is Half a Legionnaire. This month, written by Jim Shooter. Art Win Mortimer and Jack Abel. One of the duo damsels' selves becomes evil. But is this a dream or real? Well, the story is a bit of both. And if I can give you an accurate synopsis, you will know. #381, October cover date. Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson and Gaspar Saladino with the cover this time. Leo Dorfman writes, the dictator of Earth, as it says on the cover there. Kurt Swan and George Roussos with the art. The story begins as it ended last issue, but Superman decides to not open the box. What's on the cover is what he does next. Declaring to take over the world, he does eventually come out of his anger and agrees to be tried by the UN Security Council. The conclusion to this story has to do with the flag and what Superman placed in the top of it. Tell me in the comments. Give it a guess if you haven't read it. And the next Legion story, The Hapless Hero. Jim Shooter writing, Win Mortimer, Jack Abel with the art. This is a story mainly about Matarisa Lad. He has a big argument with his mother over money. He then, back at Legion headquarters, tells his woes to Shrinking Violet, who also has heartache over Duplicate Boy, her boyfriend, being away all the time. Duplicate Boy appears accusing Matarisa Lad of stealing his girlfriend. Will it get sorted out in the end? Well, it's a Legion tale. What do you think? #382 November. Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson with the cover. Clark Kent Magician. Written by Leo Dorfman, pencils and inks by Kurt Swan and George Roussos. Clark inherits a trunk of magic props. Conveniently, he gets sacked by Perry, so starts a career as a magician. Mainly, he uses his powers in such a way they look like magic tricks. Jimmy then conveniently gets sacked and starts helping Clark with his new career. Ultimately, they stop some criminals and then conveniently are rehired. And the Legion tale, Kill a Friend to Save a World. Written by Jim Shooter, art by Win Mortimer and Jack Abel. A man named Kosvar has designed androids capable of defeating any threat. Unknown to all, he has kidnapped and hypnotised both Superboy and Mon-El and has duplicated some of their powers and installed them in his androids. The Legion believe these androids will start an arms race and next Kosvar millions as well. Or net millions as well as causing wars between many planets. When they find out about the abducted Superboy and Mon-El, they hatch a plan to rescue them and stop the manufacturer of the androids. And lastly, December cover date, number 383. Kurt Swan, Murphy Anderson with the cover. It's written by Carrie Bates, The Killer Costume. Art by Kurt Swan and George Roussos. Superman encounters the uniform of Aber. No, not the pop group. This is spelled A-A-B-U-R. Anyway, this uniform belonged to Aber, a space criminal who died from a comet's radiation, along with the lawman that caught him. But whose spirit lives on in the animated uniform? The uniform seeks out Earthmen to don it, by whom it hopes to continue in its criminal career. But its energies destroy two wearers and the third is stymied by Superman. Aber's uniform abandons its host and tries to clothe Superman in itself. But as it approaches him, so does the animated uniform of the lawman, Enforcer NS11. Be continued next year, or as in 1970. And 383, Last Legion of Tale of the Year, is written by E. Nelson Bridwell. Chameleon Boy's Secret Identity, art by Win Mortimer and Jack Abel. Chameleon Boy substitutes for a busy karate kid as Princess Projector's escort to a weekend party at the home of her wealthy friend, Janice Warren. And on arriving, Chameleon Boy is immediately attracted to Janice, who reminds him of a woman he almost married. But he overhears her telling Projector the exact opposite of his feelings. He disguises himself as Dame Roberts with attributes that Janice admires. Then a valuable jewel of Janice's is stolen, and Dave gets the blame. I'll let you guess what happens next. That's it for 69. Hope you like the covers and the stories. I think I went on a bit long. Let me know in the comments. Do you want the next decade in the same way? Superman first, action second, or a longer video with both? Let me know in those comments, and next video should be the final part of Scalp Hunter, if the computer's working. I've got to get that script written. So if you would like to give a thumbs up and a comment, it would be appreciated. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.